Salutations to all our future judges. In this video, we are going to see Indian Evidence Act 1872. But before going into the video, I'd like to make few requests to our viewers as well as the subscribers. Kindly do not skip the video. Watch the video from the beginning till the end. If you skip in between, you may be missing very crucial information or very crucial aspects which have been explained. Hence, watch from the beginning till the end. And next request is, please do have a notebook and a pen with you, because various questions which have been asked in Evidence Act in various exams would be mentioned or would be stated. And in addition to this, idea would be given as to how questions could be framed in a particular section. It is very important for you. So you all need to make a note of all these aspects. And in addition to this, some additional illustrations would also be given while teaching the act. Hence, you please make a note of all those additional illustrations as well. They would be of absolute help to you in understanding the particular section. And in addition to this, various ways or techniques would be taught which would help you to remember those sections, or to say some memory techniques would be given. This would be really helpful to you in remembering the sections when you go to the exam. I hope this video would be of absolute and great utility to you. Chapter 9 of Witnesses, Section 118, Who may testify? So this particular section speaks about the people or the person who is competent to testify in a court. So the basic fact is, imagine a situation where a person is standing in a witness box and a question is being posted to him. He is not in a position to understand that question. Then that person is not competent to testify. One. The next is, that person is in a position to understand the question, but he is not in a position to give a rational answer to those questions because he is of a tender age, or he is extremely old, or he has got some disease, or he has some problem in his body or in mind due to which he is not in a position to give a rational answer. Then that person is also not competent to testify. Let us move to explanation what has been given. If there is a lunatic person, if he is in a position to understand a question put to him and he is giving a rational answer, then in that case, that lunatic is considered to be competent to testify. Section 119. Witness unable to communicate verbally. If there is a witness who is not in a position to communicate verbally, then what he will do generally? So he will try to show it by way of signs, or he can write and show to the court as to what has happened. So whether the court can accept this? The answer is yes, the court can accept this, provided this writing or signs are made in the open court. And such evidence given shall be considered as oral evidence. And if the witness is unable to communicate verbally, then the court can take the assistance of an interpreter or a special educator in recording the statement. And while doing so, it should be videographed. So the basic fact is, a person who is not in a position to communicate verbally can say to the court whatever he wants to say by way of writing or by signs, and that can be considered as an oral evidence. And in addition to this, court needs to have an interpreter or a special educator if signs are being shown, and that should also be videographed. In all these cases, that witness is considered to be a valid evidence. Section 121, Judges and Magistrates. So, if the judge or magistrate is giving a judgment or is doing his duty, what has been assigned to him, then in that case, he cannot be questioned as a witness except with the permission of the superior court, to which that magistrate or judge is subordinate. However, if something is happening in his presence when he was doing his job as a judge or a magistrate, in that case he can be examined. three illustrations are given with respect to this particular section. Let us try to understand this particular section by way of those illustrations. Illustration A. Now, A is there on a trial before the court of session, and he says to the court of session that magistrate B did not take the deposition in a proper manner. Then in that case, this court of session cannot ask that magistrate to answer questions as to this, except with the order of the superior court. Next illustration B. A is accused before the court of session because he gave a false evidence before the magistrate B. Now, B cannot be asked as to what A said, except with the special order of a superior court. These are two instances where a magistrate cannot be compelled to appear before the court, except with the order of the superior court. Next illustration C. Now, A is accused before the court of session of attempting to murder a police officer whilst on his trial before B, a sessions judge. In that case, B may be examined as to what occurred. So, when we try to understand this simply, there is a judge, he is seeing something happening in his court. In that case, he can be a witness. Whereas, the judge cannot be called as a witness if he is doing his job or his duty. Now, let us move to section 122. Communications during marriage. So, wife cannot disclose as to what her husband said, and husband cannot disclose as to what his wife has told. Generally, however, there are certain exceptions. Imagine wife is saying something to the husband, and wife is saying if you disclose it to someone, it is not a problem. You can say to anyone whom you want to say. In that case, the husband can disclose. And in the other instance, if there is a case between husband and wife, imagine there is a divorce case between husband and wife. In that case, both the parties can say what were the communications which took place between them. And the next is, if wife is filing a criminal case against the husband, or husband is filing a criminal case against the wife, in both these situations, they can disclose the communications during the marriage. With respect to this section 123, let me try to explain this with an example. Imagine I am a clerk in a government office, in a state government office. I get a chance to see a very crucial document, maybe regarding a project which the state is planning to implement. So now that project or the details of the project have not been published till now. So if I want to give an evidence regarding that particular project which the state is planning to implement, then I need to get the permission of the head of the department. Section 124. Official communications. So if there are two public officers, they are discussing very crucial informations. So whether they can be compelled to disclose these communications, the answer is an absolute no. However, when a public interest is involved in that particular communication, then in that case they can be compelled to disclose the official communications. Now let us move to section 125. Information as to commission of offences. So if a magistrate or a police officer is getting an information about the commission of an offence, can they be compelled as to how they got the information or to disclose as to how they got that information? The answer is no. And if there is a revenue officer, he is getting an information from the general public or through some other source that there is a commission of offence against the public revenue, then in that case, can he be compelled to disclose from where he got that information? The answer is no. To understand this in a very simple manner, magistrate, police officer or revenue officer cannot be compelled to disclose the source from which they got the information about an offence being committed or about the commission of an offence. So with respect to the explanation what has been given, revenue officer in this section means any officer employed or about the business of any branch of public revenue. I hope you would have liked the video. If you like the video, please do press the thumbs up button and do share the video with your friends and motivate them. If you are not subscribed the channel, please do subscribe the channel and share the channel with your friends. If you feel that I've left something in this video or you want me to change the way in explanations are given for the sections, please do let me know by way of comments. Let us join hands together and contribute for a learned society. Thank you.